River State Governor Nyesom Wike there. Meanwhile, PDP governors say they are working hard to find a lasting solution to the crisis bedeviling the party. Chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal, who is also the interim chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, says governors in the main opposition party have met with the Board of Trustees and will come up with a solution to the intra-party conflict.
The Board of Trustees is the conscience of the party, and whenever there are issues of this nature, the Board of Trustees steps in as part of their function in the party, constitutionally speaking. And we've engaged with them, and I believe that what they are likely to come up with is going to be a solution to the problem we have.
So, we have virtually met with most of the governors, I don't want to mention names. We started from my state. From there we drove to Enugu to meet with the Enugu State Governor. From there we took a flight to Oyo State to meet Makinde. We even met with we also met with our great friend Professor Jerry Ghana. So we are really digging around, to find a lasting solution to this problem.
Well, that's the point. Can a lasting solution be found to the internal wranglings or crisis, if you like, within the PDP? Well, for more on this, former member of the PDP's Presidential Council, Kenny Okolugbo, joins us now, and he's now a member of the Accord Party. We need to stress that. And Arise Politics editor Somna Sambo also joins us right here in the studio. Somna, let me start with you. You're the political man. Wike continues to double down on the IU Must Go campaign. And what exactly is this truth that he continues to say, that when Nigerians know the truth, then what? I mean, what exactly do you make of it?
Well, I'd like to ask you a counter question, Ngozi. Whose truth is he talking about? Because, Wike has his own truth, Atiku has his own truth, IU has his own truth, and, it continues like that. And, of course, Wike, in his quest for justice, is asking some questions. And, of course, the presidential candidate and others are also asking questions. But he raised a fundamental issue today in his speech to the River State Ward leaders. One of the fundamental things he said, which I think PDP leaders will be giving a serious thought to, is that if the PDP Board of Trustees chairman, Senator Wali Jibrin, can be asked to resign, can be pressured to resign, why can't Iyorchia Ayu be pressured to resign? And according to him, the party's leaders, including the presidential candidate, are playing smart by half by saying that Iyorchia Ayu cannot be pressured to resign. If he cannot be pressured to resign, then how come the chairman of the Board of Trustees was pressured to resign? And he drew...
Well, was he really pressured to resign?
Yeah,
or he actually decided, that it's a sacrifice for the party?
Yeah, based on demands by the same Wike and his group. And if you look at it, in one way or the other, the party's leaders, including presidential candidates, would have spoken to him behind the veil to actually say, look, we need to present some sort of southern front. And Wike hit it hard here. As at last week, we didn't have the third leg of what he added today. We actually had the BOT chairman, presidential candidate, and national chairman being spoken of. But now we are having a new one being added. The DG, the Director General of the Presidential Campaign Council of the PDP, is also from the north. So the PDP seems to have a huge dose of northern problem within its hierarchy. And of course, he's right to have been saying this. But was he at the foundation laying ceremony of this crisis? Yes, we can say Wike is at the heart of this crisis, because when the South had a chance to produce someone from the Southwest, especially Professor Tunde Adeniran and Bode George, when they were contesting, Wike went ahead and supported the Secondus to emerge. And just when Secondus, who is from the South and South-South region like him, was there, he also galvanized support for Secondus to, in one way or the other, be removed. And, people will now question, what was he thinking, himself and Governor Otom, when they went to bring Iyorchia Ayu back from his retirement? So you can't absolve Wike from the same crisis that he's talking about. So that's why I said, when he says he has some truth, the question is, whose truth should we be looking at?
Also, just before I bring Kelly in here, I just want to ask this question. Clearly, he says he is preparing to address the media on this truth. From the way things are playing out, I mean, it clearly looks like things are about to get dirty. Do you think this has gone just beyond party politics? Is this personal at this point?
Yes, it's very personal at this point, and Wike is not coming out directly to point at Atiku, but from all he has said, we can clearly see that he was making reference to Atiku when he said someone and some governors actually left the PDP in 2014 and moved en masse thinking that PDP will die, but courtesy of his support and that of others, the PDP didn't die. We all know that Atiku Abubakar, Governor Kwankwanso then, and then of course Rotimi Amechi and others all moved out at that time, and Atiku was ahead of all of those decision making, and eventually he led these governors. It looks like the same thing is happening to Atiku himself, like a sort of karma, because just like it happened to then President Goodluck Jonathan, who was the presidential candidate of the party, the same thing is happening to Atiku, where 5 governors, I mean, you are talking of Okezie Ekpeazu, Ifeanyi Ogwuanyi, Governor Samuel Otom, Seyi Makinde, and of course, Governor Nyesom Wike himself, 5 of them alongside top PDP leaders leaving the Presidential Campaign Council. I can tell you that karma is back.
Whoa, karma is back. Is that what you think it is? Okolugbo, right there in Lagos. And do you think the PDP governors really can resolve this crisis within the party? How soon can they do that? How much time do they have?
Oh yes. The truth about it is it depends on the perspective you want to look at it from. The governors can resolve the crisis because the governors are seen as the leaders of the parties in their state. But more importantly, what I expect the PDP to do at this point in time, because when I was in the PDP, I remember the convention that produced Iyochayu. I served in 3 committees. I served in accreditation, I served in electoral, and I served in publicity. And I remember all the intrigues that went on, because even though it was a coronation, some positions had to be voted for. And I was privy to a lot of discussions that went on to the wee hours of the morning. And it looks like those that actually produced IU are the ones asking now that IU should give way. Yes, I was talking about the issue with a friend, and he clearly told me that, look, if IU leaves now, the constitution of the party, which we know, which they have, is Section 4766 as the deputy national chairman from the same zone as IU should take over, which is Damagum. And if he takes over, he's from Yobe, which is even from the same zone as Atiku Abubakar. And what if Damagum says he's not going to leave for maybe the deputy national chairman from the south, Arapaja, to take over at this material point in time? How do you equate it? But I think PDP will be on self-destruct if they don't put their house in order. Because if you really want to look at it, the national caucus, or the caucus of the party, will be the main body to resolve this issue. As a political analyst, I remember that in 2014, just like Sumner said, when they walked out of that convention, the complaints were basically that the North, it was their turn. Jonathan had finished the Yar'Adua's term, and it was the North's turn, and Jonathan was insisting that he was going to go for a second tenure, and they were not satisfied. And so at this point in time, with what is happening in the country right now, PDP has a very clear chance of winning these elections. So what the National Caucus should do, which comprises of all the governors you have just talked about, the members of the Board of Trustees who are also globetrotting right now to look for a way to resolve the issue, the chairman himself, the presidential candidate, the vice presidential candidate, and all other leaders that are members of the National Caucus can actually sit down, instead of having a mini convention, ask IU to resign, ask Damagum to resign. Then it will pave way for the South to emerge. Then you can actually bring back Damagum. That is the only way to work. But then again, I was speaking with the PDP chairman in Delta State, and he said, look, that was also going to be a problem. I was just trying to feel his pulse. He said, because, you know, the secretary of the party is from the Southeast, and also the national organizing secretary is from the North. And so if the secretary of the party from the Southeast it remains, and you have a Southwest, from somebody from the Southwest as the chairman of the party, then it's going to be more of people also complaining. But you see, if I were the presidential candidate at this material point in time, I have 5 governors threatening to leave my party just because they're asking for the resignation of Iyorchia Ayu, who is the chairman of the party. I will come in and call a caucus meeting and do the needful to keep my party together, because I think PDP has the brightest chance of getting back to the seat of power in the elections of 2023.
Kenny, just to stay with you on this particular matter, I mean, you have said, the fear of even having just 5 governors leave the scene is enough for them to resolve this issue. But then it seems Wike has also actually been the man, in the spotlight in the past few weeks. And there are those who say if he goes any further, he might be suspended. But then there are also those who say, let's look at the bigger picture. Who loses in the end? Do you think Wike has anything to lose if the party refuses to resolve this issue?
Oh, well, I actually said in this studio before now that Wike had the sense of entitlement, and a lot of people called and complained about the language I actually used. Yes, at this point, I think negotiations should, there's a limit to which you can actually also drag negotiations. He's not going for any elections. If you look at it, out of the 5 governors, Wike is the only one that is not having an election. Ogwai is going for the senatorial election. Ikpeazu is going for a senatorial election. Seyi Makinde is going for a 2nd term in office. And Otom is also going for a senatorial election. And you should also clearly see that he might also be putting these 4 governors at risk. The risk he's going to put them at is if they continue to insist and Atiku says or calls their bluff, it leaves them at a quagmire, because the elections are coming first first will be the presidential election, which is on the 25th of February. How do you even go into an election where you're a senatorial candidate and most likely you're not campaigning for the presidential candidate? Because by the time you withdraw from the Presidential Campaign Council, what it means is that you're not going to have to campaign for the candidate. And Wike too should also look at the senatorial candidates and the National Assembly candidates, like the House of Rep candidates he has, that are also going to have to stand the risk of most likely also having issues. PDP wouldn't win the elections with a divided House that it has right now. I don't believe that. So it is for Wike to look at it holistically. But I think it goes beyond Wike, because you have every other person supporting him. So they have to sit down and look at it. But Iyorchia Ayu also has a task. He has a task to ask himself, if I remain the clog in the wheel of progress, then I can throw in the towel, I can resign and let things move on.
Well, that's not looking likely. I mean, with the neck giving him, the nod and, that confidence booster that he got about a week or so ago. Somna, are there any parties in the wings, really, do you think, to take advantage of these internal wranglings within the PDP? And we're hearing also that the APC, well, things aren't as, cushy as you would expect. Do you think a third force really might just emerge from nowhere? And, just in line with what Oyin asked Okolugbo there, who really would be the losers and who will be the winners in all of this at the end of the day?
Let me start with your last question. If Governor Nyesom Wike is not careful, this politics may actually affect his own local politics in Rivers State. Don't forget, right now, the Rivers State Governorship Campaign Council is yet to be composed because of this wrangling that he has. He has been suspending or even victimizing some of his political associates just because they identify with Atiku Abubakar. Are they not the same people who are meant to go and campaign for the governorship candidates in Fubara, in a state where Tonye Cole and the APC are beginning to work stronger because of this? You've seen Amechi going quiet. They are working hard in Rivers State. They are senatorial candidates. They are House of Representative candidates. I mean, Governor Nyesom Wike, yes, doesn't have any election, but what of a legacy? I mean, how will it be if, for example, the opposition wins in the state and is left in the cold? What of if Atiku Abubakar himself directs his political associates to pull out of any support that is meant for his own governorship candidates, Sim Fubara and other senatorial candidates and all of that. Now, this will affect him whether we like it or not. But look at the flip side too. Even Atiku, he's going to lose the national appeal in the midst of this, because look at it. The PDP is supposed to have been telling Nigerians what they ought to do for the country, but they are doing this fighting civil war within the party right now, and they are giving opportunities for other political parties, you know, to gain inroads into them. Coming to your first question, it's unfortunate that the Labour Party doesn't seem to have been playing so fast the way we expected. Look at people like Donald Duke. They are very, very, you know, at home with young people and some other top politicians, including Jerry Ghana and some other people. As things are going on, we expect that this third political force, or the NMPP, should be able to harvest some of these politicians who have the thinking of Nigerians at heart. If the PDP is not prepared at the moment to tell Nigerians what it wants to do for them, then other political parties should harvest politicians from there.
Well, Kenny, just in a nutshell, as we've just mentioned earlier on, with the crisis in the APC, the crisis in the PDP, there are those who say there are four major parties really at play here: APC, PDP, the NNPP, and the Labour Party. As a member of the Accord Party, is this an opportunity? Do you think it's going to be worthwhile, okay, to join forces with any of these other two parties that are hoping to knock off these other, you know, major parties? Where's the Accord Party in the scheme of things?
I'm very realistic at this point in time. As a member of that party, I don't see a pathway to having any impact in the national elections at this point in time. We must look at the two parties, PDP and APC. The party itself that is having the drive is the Labour Party. And that is why, just like what Sumner said, the PDP has everything it takes to win at this point. Reason because the APC, with the crisis they're having, which is a Muslim ticket, the issue of the economy, inflation is at 20.5%, unemployment still remains at 33%, the misery index is also is at an all-time high. People are complaining, people are growing under an economic problem. Even though they're trying to sell the Tinubu candidacy with the Lagos story, people are not looking at that. They're still remembering that Tinubu is a member of the APC, and the APC government has not performed in terms of security, corruption, and economy, which is a three mantra they came on. But the PDP is not taking advantage of that. It's become a house of commotion in the sense that this is a time they can put their house in order. So if Atiku is trying to show that he's a unifier, which he is supposed to be, at this point in time, there's no point going to the rhetorics of the Constitution on what it would take for you to go. He should clearly call a caucus meeting and ask you to resign, and so that the party can move on at this point in time. Yes, there might be some lacunas that has been pointed out, but if he really has the interest of his own election, because at this point he's the leader of the party, and that is the reality of it. Otherwise, like Sumner said, Labour would have a clear chance to make inroads, even though we keep saying that, or I keep saying that I don't see a clear path into them having 25% of 24 states at this time. But what if there's a runoff? People they fail to take that into consideration. That's where this your question falls into place. If there's a runoff, there can be an alliance, and you'll be shocked that Peter Obi will become the next president of this country.
Right. Those words may just be written in concrete. Sumner, you have something to say about that, don't you?
I just wanted to add that this is, in other political climes where situations like this happen, this is the time for alliances to be built by the other political parties. I mean, we haven't seen the NMPP and Labour Party having a merger, but if they are wise with all that they are saying right now, and they have very good strategies and forward-thinking political analysts, they should be able to know that this is the time for them to come together and build an alliance, not a merger, an alliance, and go into the national elections. For the state elections and all of that, yes, they can go their separate ways. But for the national election, with what we are seeing in the PDP and APC also having some challenges with the composition of its National Campaign Council, I mean, if the Labour Party, NMPP, and others are not thinking of an alliance, then they don't have good political strategies.
I guess we're going to have to leave it at that point. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We've been speaking with the former member of the PDP's Presidential Council and current member of the Accord Party, Kenny Okolugbo, and of course, our own very Arise Politics editor, Sambo. Thank you so much, gentlemen.